Okay, welcome back again. My name is Ricardo Montoya. I'm your teacher, and this is part 3. Okay, the first part was the introduction, and and the second part, we were speaking about the structure because this is very important. This is something that we're gonna be checking forever. We're gonna repeat this multiple times. I hope you don't hate it as much as it sounds like you probably will. I'll try to make it easier and more palatable. Okay, so well, the thing is, we were checking on the last video how every sentence in English has to be an affirmative or negative statement, a yes no question, or an information question. That's pretty much it. Also, we were speaking about the differences that we have to do with the structure. We know that this structure is the structure for affirmative statements, and then we have to do some corrections. We need to add the negative on the auxiliary for negative statements. We need to switch places between subject and auxiliary to make questions, etc. We were checking that everything you say in English has to be one of these. We were checking that sentences, they always have a subject and they always have a verb. That's pretty much what we know. If you have any doubts, you can go back to the last video and then try to check it again. If you have any questions, you can just let me know. But okay. I'm starting exactly in the same image that we left, because I think it is really important for everybody to understand again the difference between words and functions. What is a word? Well, a word, you know what a word is, palabra. We have different types of words and they are used for different things. We have in Spanish sustantivos, adjetivos, adverbios, pronombres, conjunciones, preposiciones, no sé, etc. In English, we have the same. We have adjectives, nouns, pronouns, adverbs, prepositions, conjunctions, etc. So those are words, okay? But one word is not the same as one function. Yeah, we need to know the difference between words and functions, because the sentences that we are making, las oraciones que estamos haciendo, they always have the same structure. Siempre tienen la misma estructura en cuanto a funciones, no en cuanto a palabras. No necesariamente porque las oraciones tienen 4 funciones significa que tienen 4 palabras. It is not the same at all. So again, in this example right here, we have a subject that is using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 words, and a complement that uses 3 more words. So you have 7 words doing one function, and then 3 words doing one more function. So that's pretty much it. Now we're gonna move on, and we're gonna be speaking about each function individually. This is important, okay? So we're gonna be speaking about structure. What is a subject? So we know that the subject is super important because that's a part of every sentence in English. You always need a subject. But what is a subject? It says, grammatically, the subject is the person, the thing, the idea, or even the phrase that does the action of the verb, okay? So the subject is whatever is doing the action of the verb. Nouns normally act as subjects. A noun in Spanish is un sustantivo, noun. In Spanish, you remember sustantivos, we have propios y comunes, we have singular and plural, etc. In English, we also have nouns. Nouns are the names of things. A lamp is a noun, a camera is a noun, a house is a noun, a pancake is a noun, a dog or a cat, or whatever, those are nouns. Nouns are normally singular or plural. But nouns actually will always, well, not always, sorry. They normally work, they act as subjects. So normally your subject is a noun. For example, my cat is very fast. What is very fast? My cat. And the cat is a noun, is the name of the animal. It's just the name of the being that is very fast. But for example, a verb can sometimes be a noun too. This is super important. Okay, again, this is the problem with dictionaries. If you're looking into a dictionary, the word run or running, it's going to tell you that it's an intransitive verb. And then you know, run significa correr, es un verbo, se usa donde va el verbo, son verbos. But sometimes verbs can act as subjects. Even in Spanish, I don't know if you remember in your Spanish classes, maybe if you're from Mexico, I mean, this is for the students of the University of Guanajuato, so I guess all of you have the same experience. In elementary school or in middle school or something, maybe you remember the word verboide or the word verbo sustantivado. Probablemente no se acuerdan qué significa, pero tal vez recuerden haber escuchado esas palabras. ¿Qué es un verboide o un verbo sustantivado en español? En español, un verboide o un verbo sustantivado es un verbo que no es un verbo. O sea, es algo que parece un verbo, pero no está cumpliendo la función de ser un verbo. En español, todos los verbos en infinitivo, ar, ir, en realidad no son verbos. Me gusta correr. O sea, el verbo ahí es gustar. Me gusta correr significa a mí me gusta algo. En la oración nadie está corriendo. Me gustan los perros, me gustan los gatos, me gusta correr. Correr es el nombre de la cosa que me gusta. ¿Sí? Ahí nadie está corriendo. Parece un verbo, pero no es un verbo. Correr es muy bueno para tu salud. Running is very healthy for you. Correr está funcionando como si fuera el sujeto. Cuando dices correr es muy sano, en realidad el verbo es ser. Es. Eso es muy sano. ¿Sí? El verbo es el que está conjugado. Como el sujeto es eso, el verbo está conjugado a eso. Eso es. ¿Sí? Si fueran dos esos o ellos, sería son, no es. Si fuera yo, sería soy, no es. ¿Se dan cuenta? Esta es la tercera persona porque así se conjuga con las cosas. En inglés eso también puede pasar. Los verbos no siempre son verbos. Tenemos este problema otra vez de que vemos run y yo me acuerdo en la primaria, pollito es chicken, gallina es hen y run es correr, entonces aquí alguien corre, aquí. ¿Cierto o falso? Alguien está corriendo, cierto, porque aquí dice running. Falso, porque este running no es el verbo, es el sujeto. ¿Cómo sé que es el sujeto? Bueno, de entrada, verbs in English, when they are in infinitive or in the gerund, this is the gerund. When you have ing, is gerund, gerundio. When you have a verb in the gerund, they can work as the subject of a sentence. Un verbo en ing, un verbo en gerundio, puede ser el sujeto de una oración, o también puede ser el verbo. ¿Cómo sé? Por la estructura. Recuerden que las oraciones afirmativas en inglés empiezan con el sujeto. Si aquí empecé con running y además está en ing, entonces este no es un verbo, es el sujeto. Además, ¿qué hay después de running? Is, un verbo, el verbo to be, en presente simple. Tendría que ser sujeto, auxiliar, verbo y complemento. Y aquí yo tengo mi sujeto, ¿sí? Mi sujeto, que en este caso sería running. El auxiliar nunca se pone porque es afirmativo y porque es el verbo to be. Con esto nunca pasa eso. Tengo el verbo y tengo el complemento. Entonces, this is super important. Yeah? You cannot trust the dictionary all the time because in a dictionary, run is correr and it is a verb. But the language is very, very, very fluid, very flexible. We can use words that will normally be used. I mean, run is normally a verb and is 99% of the time used as a verb, but it can also be working as the subject. In this case, this sentence is correct because it doesn't have two verbs. You don't have verb plus complement. That is not a sentence. You cannot do that, right? So in this case, this is not a verb plus a verb. You have your subject, and then you have your verb, and then you have your complement. So it's following the rules. You have one subject, you have one verb. Is it okay? That's perfect. Okay, this is the first part about subjects. In the active voice, which is the normal one, the one we're checking right now, we're gonna check the passive voice in a little while. It's gonna take a few videos to get there. But in the active voice, this voice, the normal voice, the subject is the person or the thing or even the idea doing the action of the verb. In this case, my cat is the doer of being fast. My cat is the thing or the animal that is fast, is doing the action of being fast. And running is the subject, is the thing that is healthy. I am healthy. Cats are healthy. I don't know, like cabbage is healthy or running is healthy. Medicine is healthy. Running is healthy. Running is actually the subject of this sentence. Yeah? Now, another important thing with nouns, now we're speaking about nouns. Noun is a thing. Nouns can work, I mean, they can be the subject of a sentence. We were checking that a noun can be the subject of a sentence, but nouns can be replaced by pronouns. En español se llaman sustantivos y pronombres. En inglés es más fácil la relación porque lo que tiene son nouns, sustantivos, and pronouns, pronombres. What is a pronoun? A pronoun is a word that replaces a noun. You are replacing. Replacing means eliminating the other one, taking its place. So, to avoid repetition, you can say, instead of my cat is very fast, you can say it is very fast. It is, in this case, it is replacing my cat. My cat, all of this is the noun. This is an adjective or whatever. This is just a noun. All of it is replaced by the pronoun it. It is very fast. Running, this is the subject, is the name of the activity that is very healthy. This is the verb. Well, it is very healthy. Instead of saying the noun or the verb in your run that is working like a noun, you can always use a pronoun. Okay, if you don't want to repeat that much, you can use pronouns. This is something that I think you have checked before, so we're gonna be speaking about it a little bit more. Let me move. Okay, we're gonna go about pronouns in a little bit more detail in a moment. But now we're gonna be moving on to an auxiliary. What is an auxiliary? We have a subject that is the doer of the action, and is normally a noun. But as you can see, sometimes even a verb can fulfill that function. And then what is an auxiliary? The auxiliary is the second part, is the next part. Auxiliaries, sometimes known as auxiliary verbs. You can call them auxiliaries or auxiliary verbs, but they are not the verb, they are the auxiliary. They are not the verb of the action. They are not the action that the subject is doing. They come after the subject in statements, and they are conjugated according to them. So the auxiliary has to be conjugated. I am, or I do, she does. I did, she did. Well, that doesn't change. You need to conjugate it to the subject. Also, they are very useful because they tell us the time tense of the sentence. The purpose of the auxiliary is to tell you if a sentence is in the present, in the past, in the future. And then you know if the action of the verb is a finished action, an action in progress, an action that will be in progress at the time in the future, an action that was in the progress at the time in the past, etc. We're going to be checking time tenses, but every time tense has its own auxiliary. So it says, when you have a negative statements, auxiliaries always take the negative. Yeah. When you have negative statements, auxiliaries are mandatory because they always take the negative. You never say, I no like. You need to say, I don't like, I didn't like, I haven't liked, I won't like. You never say not just like that. The negative is always close, connected to the auxiliary, okay? And in affirmative statements, you normally use the auxiliary after the subject, again, except in the simple present and the simple past. We're gonna be checking that again. And when you're making questions, the auxiliary and the subject, they switch positions. So they are, again, mandatory, necessary. You cannot just not use them. And you start, instead of subject auxiliary, you start with auxiliary and then subject. We have different auxiliaries. We're going to be checking them. Everyone is different because it's for a different time tense. And depending on the auxiliary is what you're going to be doing with the verb. We're going to be checking all of that one by one. Okay? So then we have, what is a complement? We're skipping the verbs a little bit because the verbs are a little complicated. So we know what a subject is. We know what an auxiliary is. Let's check what is a complement. A complement, well, it's a difficult word for the sake of this review. We are going to define it, a complement, as any extra information that comes after the verb. So a complement is whatever extra information that you have after the verb. Complements can explain the time, the place, or the way the action of the sentence takes place. So you can have a complement of time, a complement of place, a complement of way. A complement, again, is just extra information. You can say something about when it happened, how it happened, why did it happen, etc. Those are complements. Another really important possibility is that a noun acts like the complement. Okay. Sorry. I think I skipped one. There are many words that can act as a complement. Adjectives, which are descriptions, can be a complement. Adverbs, descriptions of the verb, can be a complement. We're gonna deepen into that. What is an adverb? What is an adjective? We're gonna be checking all of that. Don't worry. And full phrases can be a complement. So a complement is any extra information, and we have many different types of complements. Another possibility is that you have a noun as the complement. You know that a noun is a thing, and they can be the subject. Yeah, my cat is very fast. The cat is a noun, and the cat is the subject. Also, the cat can be the complement. You can say, I like cats. In that case, the subject is not the cat. The subject is I. And the cat is not doing the action of liking nothing. The cat is actually receiving the action of being liked. In that case, that element is known as the object, the direct object. An object is a noun that is a part of the complement. Yes? An object is a noun that is not doing the action of the verb. On the opposite is receiving the action of the verb. The cat didn't like anything. The cat received liking or love, okay? It says, verbs can act not as verb, but as complements in a sentence. Again, the same thing. We were checking that a verb with ing can work like the subject. You can say, running is healthy. So running becomes the subject. It's a verb void, let's call it in English. I don't know if that word exists, but it's not really a verb. Yeah. Again, another thing that can happen is that you think that you have two verbs. Let's just make an example. You can say something like, I hate to travel. And then I can ask you, what is the verb? And then maybe you have a problem. You say the verb is hate or the verb is travel. And then you have a problem. You're like, I don't know. Remember, subject, auxiliary, verb, and complement. So the subject is I. This is the subject. Yeah. The auxiliary, this is an affirmative statement in the simple present. So you don't use the auxiliary. The auxiliary is do. The verb is hate. Why? Because of the order. Subject, auxiliary, verb. The auxiliary is here, and then this is the verb. And this here is not a verb. This is a verb complement. This verb is not really a verb. You don't have subject plus verb plus verb. You have subject plus verb plus complement. No one is traveling. When you say, I hate to travel, you are saying you hate something. The action is hating. Traveling is the name of the thing that you hate. You can say, I hate traveling. Yes, subject, verb, and complement. Or you can say, I hate to travel. Subject, verb, complement. The complement, this verb, that is really not a verb, is always in gerund, ing, or in infinitive, to plus verb. Walking or to walk, doing or to do, renting or to rent, drawing or to rent, or to draw, sorry, traveling or to travel. You can say, I hate traveling, or you can say, I hate to travel. All of this is not a verb. This is a complement. I hate traveling. This is not a verb. This is a complement. How do you know? Because of the structure. You need to pay attention to the structure. You need to do that. Again, even in Spanish, we make this mistake all the time. Yeah, I tell you, me gusta, o no sé, quisiera ir a nadar. Y les pregunto, ¿cuál es el verbo? Se sorprenderían, pero más de la mitad de la gente dice nadar. Acuérdense, los verbos en infinitivo no son verbos. Cuando tú dices quisiera ir a nadar, ahí el verbo es querer. Yo quisiera cierta cosa. Ahí tampoco el verbo es ir. Yo quisiera ir a nadar. Tanto ir como nadar son cosas que yo quisiera hacer, pero lo que yo, como el sujeto, estoy haciendo es querer algo. Yo quisiera un perro, yo quisiera un gato, yo quisiera ir a nadar. tanto ir como nadar son realmente complementos, están funcionando como si fueran sustantivos, no como si fueran el verbo. No podemos tener 3 verbos en una oración, no podemos tener 2 verbos en una oración. Lo que tenemos es un verbo y el que sigue está en infinitivo o está en gerundio, to travel o traveling, y en realidad no son el verbo, son el complemento. En este caso se llama complemento verbal, otro de esos temas que vamos a checar más a profundidad. Disculpen esta parte, yo sé que es problemático, pero hay un orden, tenemos que ir checando más o menos cómo funcionan ciertas cosas, unas primero que otras. No se preocupen, vamos a hablar más de los complementos verbales. Espero que los lleguen a entender perfectamente bien, pero bueno, aquí la cosa es que es un complemento. ¿Qué es un complemento? Cualquier información extra, puede ser de tiempo, de lugar, de modo. Hay palabras que pueden actuar como complementos, por ejemplo, los adjetivos o los adverbios pueden funcionar como si fueran complementos. También existen los objetos. ¿Recuerdan qué es un objeto? Un objeto es un sustantivo, pero que no es quien hace la acción, sino quien la recibe. Si ustedes tienen un sustantivo en el lugar del complemento, ese sustantivo no es el sujeto, es el objeto, es quien recibe la acción del verbo. Y también tenemos que incluso los verbos pueden funcionar como complementos. Incluso tenemos complementos verbales, o sea, verbos que en realidad no son el verbo, son el complemento. Esos van en ing, en gerundio, o en to plus verb, o sea, infinitivo. Estas reglas las vamos a checar. Por ahorita, bueno, nada más estamos platicando. Espero que no sea muy confuso si voy demasiado rápido. Si necesitan verlo otra vez, regresen por favor. Si tienen cualquier pregunta, me lo pueden hacer directamente en los comentarios del video. O bueno, tendremos también un grupo de Teams, me parece, o por lo menos un grupo de WhatsApp. Estoy preparando todo para que eso sea útil para todos. Y pues bueno, ustedes saben que me pueden encontrar y podemos hablar específicamente de algo. Podemos hacer una sesión que sea específica para ciertas dudas, pero necesito que todo el mundo tenga la misma información. ¿Ok? Ahora, let's move on. We have complements. For example, we have complements of time, place, and mode. For example, complements give us extra information about the sentence. Here, let me just move my image. It says, complements give us extra information about the sentence. For example, they can explain the time. I play soccer every Friday. So this is explaining when I play soccer. They can explain the place. I play soccer in school. They are explaining where, in what place do I play soccer. You can explain how. I play soccer very well. Very well is a complement of way. It is explaining you how you play. And you can even use them at the same time. You can say, I play soccer very well in school every Friday. So in this case, you are using 3 complements: complement of time, complement of place, and complement of way or how. And you are explaining everything about the sentence. I play soccer, and you are saying when, where, and how you play soccer. All of these are extra information. And in this case, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words as your complement. One is the subject, one is the verb, and then very well in school every Friday, that's the complement. So again, functions are different from words. In this case, we have multiple words doing the function of being the complement. Okay? So let's move on. This is an important part. Let's speak about objects. Let me check the time. I think we're gonna stop here. I'm gonna go back to this on the next chapter because it's gonna take a while on its own. And objects are super, super, super important. And sometimes they are kind of confusing. So we're gonna wrap up here and we're gonna continue tomorrow, or I don't know. I mean, I'm recording one after the other. I don't know when you will check it, but I promise it will be available all of this at the same time. Okay, so thank you very much. Take care, and again, any questions that you have, you can let me know. Okay, so see you.